Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to show you folks how to make a Christmas cracker today, and the technique we're going to use involves using a toilet tissue tube or a paper tube, a 2x4 inch paper tube, basically a solid core center, which is a little different from most crackers which use laminated cardstock over paper to make a cracker. So we're going to start with a 2x4 inch mailing tube. And other things that you're going to need to make the cracker is wrapping paper. You're going to need a cracker snap, as well as a tissue crown, and also a motto. The motto and the tissue crown are traditional elements of the crackers. And we're going to use a set of what I call rollers that we've made to actually help you roll the tube onto the paper. All the things I just showed you are available on our website, Old English Crackers, and at the end of the video there'll be a link to the site where you can actually look at and purchase these products if you need them. Some of the other things you're going to need, and we'll go over this as we're making the cracker, is of course paper, curling ribbon, you'll need a glue gun or some other source of sticking the paper to the tube, and of course you're going to need some gifts to put inside the crackers. So we're just going to get started right away. We're going to make a 10-inch long cracker, and to do that I've cut the paper to 12 inches in length, so there'll be some room to gather at either side of the middle. The paper is actually 7.5 inches in width, which is about the size you need to wrap around the full diameter of the paper tube. So we're going to start with our paper tube, and with these you can actually pre-fill these tubes so that it's easier to have your gifts already inside of it. What I typically do is I take the tissue crown, open it up to one of the folds, put the motto inside, put the crown and the motto inside the tube, and then I'll add my gift, whatever it is, a little ball or whatever. If it doesn't fit, the thing to do is to wrap it in tissue paper. Wrap it in tissue paper and till it's tight enough so that it won't fall out when you shake it. So there we have a tube that's ready to go. We're going to take our piece of paper, cut to size as I mentioned earlier, and the first thing we're going to do with that is add the snap to it, which is something that I like to do first. We're going to take our glue gun, put a little dab of glue close to the edge of the paper, about an inch in, and stick the snap right to that. And the reason we do that is when you pull crackers, oftentimes the snap will slip out of your grasp when you're pulling the cracker. If it's actually attached to the paper, the cracker will still snap and you won't run into that problem. So it's best to glue it down. Do not glue it in the middle. The cracker won't snap if you glue it in the middle, just at the edges. So now we're going to take our rollers and put the tube in the middle of it. And with these rollers, I have a mark or a line to show me the region that I need to set the roller on the paper so that the tube's in the middle of the paper. Then what I do is I'm going to pull this to the edge of the table so I can get a hold on it, and then I'll bring it back so you can see. We roll the paper onto the tube, and I always do a dry run and look to make sure that the paper is rolling onto the tube in a straight line so that your cylinder is nice and straight and doesn't have the edges coming out. So once I do that, I roll it back. We'll take our glue gun. I put a little dotted glue just inside the lip in the middle of the tube. And the reason that I do this is so that the tube doesn't slide out of the paper once you take the rollers out. So then we're going to roll this down, leaving about an inch of space, and I'm going to run a line of glue about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch inside of the cracker, and then roll the paper on, and pick it up, and I just run my finger along the seam to make sure it makes a nice, even glued down seam. Then we take the rollers out, and again, the reason that I've glued the tube in the center is so that when I do this, I don't pull the tube out of the paper. So now we're left with the cylinder, the cracker, with the tube in the middle, And what some people do at this point, and this is a really good project to do with younger kids. I'll actually destroy part of this cracker doing this, but we'll fix it up. They just take the cracker and twist it shut like that. Use a piece of curling ribbon and tie it shut, and then they have a finished product. But if you want a nicer looking cracker, something more along the lines of what you buy in a shop, the thing you want to do is make the ends of the cracker a little bit stiffer. So what I've done is I've cut some cardstock, this is like 60 to 70 weight paper, to again 7 inches, 7.5 inches by, for this, 2 to 2.25 inches in width. And what that does is it leaves just enough space between the tube and the stiffened end of the cracker for you then to gather the cracker and make that sort of perfect 3-part look that a cracker's got. So what I'm going to do is take this, roll it up, insert it in the end of the cracker, and this is kind of a tricky part. Everybody's got their own way to do this. I just put a little bit of glue inside that seam, and then push it in, and then expand it so it takes up the full inside diameter, and then I pinch it. But like I say, everybody has their own way of inserting these things. You just have to figure out the way that works best for you. We'll do that to the other end of the cracker, which is looking a little bit crinkled because we just smashed it. So then we've got these stiffer ends of the cracker now, and of course the solid core center. The next thing you do is you're going to want to gather this cracker in, so give it that 3-part look. And what I've found is nice to do is to use some sort of stand that supports the part of the cracker that you don't want to get crushed. And so what I've done is I've taken a shampoo bottle about the right diameter, again about 2 inches in diameter, and I set it up, standing up on this little block so that when I set it down, you've got just, again, 2.25 inches of the actual shampoo tube before I've got this little stopper down here, so it goes down just 2.5 inches, well, 2.25 inches, sorry. Then what you can do is use your fingers and just gather the cracker in, being careful not to rip it, all the way around. I kind of push it down and twist it. And the nice thing about that is it makes a nice even line along the gather. Then you take a piece of curling ribbon. I cut these to about 12 inches. Just take it, run it into the seam. Could do that. I'll do this on the other side for you guys. But basically you're just tying a double knot. Turn the cracker over to the other end. Do the same thing. Do this in the other direction just to show you guys. What I'm doing. So now we're going to take our scissors, cut off the loose ribbon ends. One thing I did not mention to you guys is if you're going to fill the cracker after you've rolled it, what you want to do is tie one end, and before the other end is tied off, you want to take your gift, whatever it is, insert it into the cracker, maybe put a little piece of tissue in there so it holds, then turn it over, crimp it, and tie it shut so that you have your gift inside and ready to go. So then, what we've got is a finished cracker. This is a 10-inch cracker. Like I said, if you want a longer cracker, you just cut your paper longer. You always need about 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the middle to gather it. I've found that, you know, if you're going to make a 12-inch cracker, you need a 14-inch paper. You need 2 inches more than the cracker size you're going to make with a 2-inch tube.